Okay, there are countries right now that are not part of FATCA, and they're not part of the CRS. CRS is Common Reporting Standard, which was developed after FATCA. It was designed to exchange information ahead of time, before, right before someone is getting an account set up. There's two things that you're going to have to look at when I'm explaining this to you too. I'm going to give you a list of countries that are not in compliance with FATCA or the CRS. Now, which means that they don't prevent the information of finding out if someone, or actually preventing tax evasion before it occurs. It does not prevent tax exchange agreements that were already in place before FATCA or the CRS came out. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. A lot of these countries on this list, and I say a lot of them, some of them, you have to actually check on the treaties, never complied with FATCA, never complied with the CRS, which was set up by the OECD countries, FATCA by the US. FATCA came first, then the CRS came out later. They liked the idea of FATCA where they were basically getting other countries to give information ahead of time when someone was getting accounts set up. Now, tax information exchange agreements were already in place with some of these countries, but they still were not going to sign agreements with FATCA or CRS. Now, the exchange agreements basically gave information after someone tax evaded, and the country that was trying to get the information on the person, they submitted the information after they might have had the account for several years, or they might even close the account out, okay? FATCA and CRS, what they did was they set up measures to prevent people from tax evading to begin with, okay? Now, some of these countries, like I said, that have signed on or have not signed on with FATCA or CRS, do have tax exchange agreements with these other countries in the OECD and also the US. So you need to be aware of that. You have to look at each treaty differently. I will tell you this, that the privacy is definitely going to be better going in a country that has no exchange agreements with, as far as they haven't signed on with FATCA or the CRS with the OECD, and again, FATCA is with the US. And it's real funny too, because the US has not signed on with the CRS with the OECD, but they want all the other countries to sign on with FATCA. It's like they want business from other countries, but then they don't want to give information over on U.S. or people that are investing in the United States that might be in their country with FATCA, as far as FATCA is concerned. Now, they've got two lists. One list, I'm not going to read out all the countries. There's too many countries on here, but I'm going to point out some of the countries that they pick that are not compliant with FATCA or the CRS, that have fairly good banking laws, or at least better than the ones that on the other list, which a lot of those are in Africa, and I can understand why they're on that list. There's a lot of corruption in those countries, and you wouldn't want to do any banking in those countries, although they are not in compliant with FATCA or the CRS. But there is a list that you might want to take a look at, which I'm going to pinpoint some of them on there. Not going to read all of them out because there's some on there that I don't think is good, okay? And so let me just, I'm going to highlight these for you real quick. Also, folks, if you can do us a big favor, we do not monetize our channel here, and it would do us a big favor if you give us a thumbs up if you like our videos. And also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button right on your screen here, and you get new videos automatically as they come out. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below by giving us a thumbs up. It does help in the algorithm of our channel. And if you want to know more how to legally get your income taxes to zero, or how to get a second passport as quick as 4 to 8 months, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and just ask for some help. Okay, now these are the list of countries that are FATCA and OECD CRS non-reporting countries as of 2024. Now, you're going to have to remember these countries can change in 2025. Usually they're not on this list and then they're taken off, okay? They're usually more that are joining in, okay? So as time goes on, you're going to have some of these are going to throw in the towel and they're going to join. Okay. So what I'm telling you right now is what's true right now, but it might not be down the road. All right. So let's look at the countries that are non-compliant with FATCA or the OECD CRS non-reporting countries, and that have the best banking laws. Okay. Now there's only 9. I'm going to read these out to you, but I'm going to tell you the ones I do not like. Okay, the ones they've got listed is Comoros, Dominican Republic, Armenia, Botswana, Guatemala, Cambodia, North Macedonia, Philippines, and Bahrain. Now, let me tell you something about Comoros. It's in Africa, very corrupt country. I would not go there. I mean, I just would not. Okay, Dominican Republic is incredibly corrupt there. I just would not trust that country at all. Armenia, I like Armenia. Botswana's in Africa. That might be okay. They do tax worldwide income. Of course, they tax worldwide income in Armenia also. Guatemala is probably the one I like the best on here. They got a territorial tax system, so you can literally live there and pay no income taxes if you're. And what I'm telling you too, I'm not telling you this to try to tax evade. Okay, if you don't like high taxes, do whatever you legally will have to get around high taxes. If you're a U.S. citizen, U.S. resident, if you want to get around all taxes, you're better off relinquishing. You can go part way if you file the foreign overseas exclusion, move outside the U.S. and qualify for it. Okay. That being said, these are just measures I'm telling you where you can get more privacy on your assets. Okay. But if you're from a country that taxes worldwide income to its residents, you need to do whatever it takes to break those tax ties. Staying in your high tax country and just put money in these places and tax evading, you're taking a big chance. And my advice is to do it the right way. And that is, if you don't like your tax laws in your country, if it's the U.S., you need to move out. If you want to qualify for the foreign overseas exclusion, be outside the U.S. long enough to qualify for 2025. It's $130,000 for wife, $130,000 for husband. That you can literally, it's a tax write-off. You don't have to pay taxes on that first $260,000 as far as the U.S. goes. Now, if you're in a high tax country that you move to, you're going to have to pay taxes on that first $260,000 in that country. But the whole purpose of this is to move to a tax haven like St. Kitts or Antigua that don't have an income tax. And so you can get the passport real quick and move here real fast to set up a business. Now, can you set up a business in these places here without getting citizenship? Yeah, but the problem in St. Kitts is, and we try to do this with the guy, the problem that you're going to have, if you don't get citizenship, you can come in under the Company Act, but you have to set up a corporation. Corporation taxes in St. Kitts are ridiculous. It's 33% for limited companies or corporations, okay? So if you want to go in under the unincorporated business, you can do that, but you're going to have to come in as a citizen, because any other way, you're going to have to come in under the Company Act, which means that you would have to set up a corporation, okay? Then you're going to be paying ridiculously high taxes, okay? Now, you can come in to St. Kitts and you can get what's called a retirement visa, but you're really better off getting because we did a comparison retirement visa and also getting citizenship. And your investment in property is actually lower now getting citizenship than it is getting the visa option, or where you're actually getting residency in St. Kitts by buying a property, because you have to buy a property that's $350,000 through the retirement visa program, and citizenship is $325,000. So you're better off going with the citizenship. It didn't used to be that way, but it is now, the way they've got the figures. Okay. So anyway, you can pick a country like this on here. This is talking about putting your money there, but you can also live there too. Guatemala's got a great territorial tax system. Cambodia taxes worldwide income. They don't enforce it, but I would tell you, don't move there unless you're going to comply with the tax laws, okay? But it is a pretty good place to live. That is one place I would pick on here. North Macedonia, they've applied for EU status. Once they get that, I can guarantee you they're going to be joining CRS. So, I can't see the getting EU membership and not joining CRS. I just can't see that. I would leave that out. My best one on here is the Philippines. The Philippines is, most people don't know the Philippines, in my opinion, has better privacy and secrecy laws than Singapore or in Switzerland. Okay. Now the banking laws are not quite as good. Okay. The banks are not quite as solid as Singapore and also Switzerland, but those are CRS countries. So they will definitely, if you go and set up an account in those jurisdictions, they're going to end up getting information. They're going to send out information to your residency country wherever you're living, and this is the problem that you have if you want privacy. Okay, your best way is to get out of your whole tax system, and that is do whatever it takes to break your tax ties. Okay, that's the best way to do it. And to me, that's the only way to do it, I think. But anyway, Philippines is my best pick here. Bahrain is also in here. But I like the Philippines. It's an English-speaking country, inexpensive. They got good health care there. To me, it's got everything that you want there. Pretty women if you're single, All right, those are the countries there that I would pick. There's some other ones on the ones that they suggested not to go with, but I disagree with them on some of them. These are not other non-participants in FATCA or CRS, but they don't advise going to these places because they don't think the banking laws are any good or not good enough to put on here, the financial situation. But I disagree with them. One of them I disagree with is Antigua and Barbuda, which is on here. Barbados is on here. I love Barbados. That's got a non-dom system too, really good. And their passport is phenomenal. They got a better passport than St. Kitts does, but they don't have a fast track program. But you can get the passport in just a few years of residing there. Belize is on here. I like Belize. I'm skipping a lot of these African countries. They got a lot of bad ones there. I'm just skipping through them real quick. Dominica's on here. I like Dominica. They also have a fast track program too. We deal with their fast track program. We also deal with Belize and Guatemala and also Antigua. I'm just looking here real quick. El Salvador's on here. Love this one. Bukele's made a huge difference in that place. And I disagree. I think Bukele's making the financial system better there. They also made Bitcoin legal tender, so I disagree with him on there. I think he's already made a huge change in that country. Just going through these real quick here. Grenada's on here. Now, you got to remember, like I mentioned to you at the beginning of this video, by them not complying with CRS or FATCA does not mean that they do not have a tax exchange agreement with the country that you're living in. I'm telling you, you need to look at that because tax exchange agreements give over information once it's requested. Complying with FATCA and CRS are prevention measures that's done at the time you open the bank account. And let me give you an example of what I'm talking about real quick, and then I'll hit on the rest of these countries here. If you set up a bank account and you go to a country that has let's say has a FATCA agreement with the U.S., then you're going to have to sign what's called W-9 forms. Okay, they used to didn't have these, but they do now. The W-9 form goes right to the U.S. Okay, so that they try to prevent it before any tax evasion occurs because they're letting you know you better report this money because there's a W-9 that's going to be sent back to the U.S. They used to didn't have that. They used to just file W-8 forms on U.S. citizens, U.S. residents, but I'm talking about many years ago, 15, 20 years ago. They don't do that anymore. You have to show proof that you're not a U.S. citizen or a U.S. resident, and you have to sign forms on FATCA forms stating that, okay? And once you do that, then they file what's called W-8s, and then nothing goes back to the IRS because you're not a U.S. citizen, you're not a U.S. resident anymore, okay? Or you've never been, okay? You still have to sign those agreements with these other countries, whether you've ever lived there or not. And if you're living in a CRS country that's compliant with CRS, there are forms that you're going to have to file on that also, okay? If you're a resident in that country, and there's no privacy if it's a CRS country, okay? That's why I'm trying to tell you this up front, is I'm trying to give you countries that you can go to. But again, this doesn't exchange the agreement they might have on tax exchange agreements. Okay, tax exchange agreements and agreements dealing with FATCA and CRS are totally different. They can be not compliant, okay, with CRS and FATCA, but still have a tax exchange agreement. You need to check that. Okay. I'm just going to go through these real quick here and look to see Grenada's on here, which I mentioned. Guyana is a pretty nice country. They do tax worldwide income. That's in South America. Honduras is another one I like. Honduras has got a territorial tax system. They don't allow dual citizenship except for countries in Central America, and I think Spain's on that list too, of countries that you can get dual citizenship if you're trying to get a Honduras passport. Let's see some of the other one here. Kyrgyzstan's on here. That's a nice one. They do tax worldwide income there, though. Laos is a nice one. I think Laos has got a territorial tax system too, I believe. I have to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure they do. Let's see here. Just looking through these real quick. Namibia is another good one in Africa. It has a territorial tax system. They're also in here. Now, their financial system might not be that sound, so that's why they list them here, but they do have a good tax system there. I would not put much money over there. Another good one is Palau. Let's see, Paraguay is another one on here, and I don't know why they didn't put this on the first list. I like Paraguay. Now, if you try to get citizenship in Paraguay, you have to relinquish all your other passports, though, to get that. And it's a 3-year residency before you can apply for the passport. But I'm telling you, you're not going to get it in 3 years. It'll take you probably 10 to 15 years to get that passport. I don't care what anybody tells you. I've talked to plenty of people on that passport, but they do have a good territorial tax system. Let's look at some of these other ones here that are on here. Let's see. Vietnam's another one. Real inexpensive place to live. A lot of people go there to retire. They don't exchange on CRS or FATCA, but they do tax worldwide income. They really should change their tax laws there. Vietnam would explode if they would at least let foreigners come in on a territorial tax system basis. Zambia is another one in Africa, has a territorial tax system, and that's the only one the only ones I would pick out of the 92 that are on this. That's on this second list. Okay, the first list was 9, and I gave you those countries there. Anyway, folks, if you want to legally get your income taxes to zero, how to get a second passport as quick as 4 to 8 months, do 3 things. Hit the subscribe button at the right of your screen right here, and you get new videos automatically as they come out. And again, if you like our videos, give us a thumbs up. It helps in the algorithm of our channel. It helps us tremendously, folks. If you could do anything, that helps us tremendously if you'll do that for us. And go to our website again, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and ask for some help. And I look forward to talking to you on the next video. Take care.